Ladies and gentlemen, today I'd like to talk about the universal primary education and the primary education in general in Uganda. With more than 35 million people and 65% of those under the age of 18, it is paramount that we have a good and stable educational system. This is the foundation of a progressive society. However, under Dictator Museveni, the educational system is in tatters. Time does not permit me to speak about primary, secondary, and university education, so I'll restrict my talk today on primary education. In 1996, Mr. Museveni introduced universal primary education. Although this was a very good idea on paper, as usual, the execution has been a disaster. A lot of money has been pumped in the system, a lot of money has been borrowed, a lot of donations have been received, but on the ground, there is very little to show for it. There are no buildings, there are no scholastic materials, the children go hungry, and in fact, a whole Minister of Government cried about a week ago when she was confronted with children who go without lunch. One wonders whether these were tears of shame. Under such very difficult conditions, the students are supposed to perform. Of course they don't. And no wonder that they get out after 7 years and many of them cannot write, many of them cannot add, and many of them cannot spell. Mr. Museveni, in his misguided way, also suppressed the teaching of the natural languages or regional languages in favor of English and Swahili. Now, everybody knows, and medically too, and I'm sure that UNESCO encourages the children to learn in their natural languages at the beginning. They can always add on English and Swahili. The teachers are not motivated at all, and repeatedly we hear teachers threatening to go on strike. Teaching profession is one of those where people are really committed. It's a calling. And for a teacher to threaten to strike, things must be very bad. Now, these teachers are not paid for months on end, and they've got families. How can they expect to teach and to attend to the students when they're not paid? Consequently, at any given time in Uganda, 40% of the teachers are absent for one reason or another, but mostly because they are not paid. Many schools have been destroyed physically. There are many school fires that have not been explained. Budo Primary School, Bukoyo Secondary School, Kalungu, Namugongo, and many others. There is a high suspicion that many of these were burnt down by government functionaries, especially for those they don't support or they think are not for the government. A number have been actually destroyed by physically pulling them down. A recent example is the Nabagereka Primary School. This is totally unacceptable. There is now a new class in society called the Bayaye, or delinquents. And in large, this is a product of poor primary education and poor conditions in which the children grow. And the government must take responsibility squarely for this. There is automatic promotion in the schools. There is no regard to standards. Is this a type of primary school education that you want? If the answer is no, then you must join me in removing Dictator Museveni. Under my government, we shall set minimum standards in schools. We shall have good training for the teachers. The teachers are going to be paid on time. There will be no corruption. Emphasis will be laid on the welfare of the students in terms of educational material, in time of teaching facilities, health, and physical education. Money allocated to schools will be used for schools. And on this one, there will be no compromise. We must stand up for Uganda. We must stand up for our children. We must invest in their future by giving them a good and stable foundation. Thank you, and God bless you all.